had an agreement, kind of like as part of your registration.
Yes.
And it was just
Start off.
hey, we agree that somebody's going to be with this child during the meeting. We agree we're not going to use corporal punishment at our meetings. We agree not to bring candy with our kids to the meetings. You know, just really simple things. We agree to have fun as a family at the meetings. And then I'd have them sign. And then just, you know, we're in agreement together that, you know, this is what I expect. This is, you know, you understand that this is what we need. And so it was just a little paper, and it was, you know, that way it was nice and done and over.
And Serena, do you use the parent pin?
We have in the past. It changes so much. We had a huge shift of a lot of kids move up all at once. And so this last year we had a lot of brand new adventurer families.
Okay.
And we had a lot of drop-offs. And you know, we try, sometimes they would stay a couple minutes at the beginning, but I like that idea of like, yeah, having almost like a pre-program activity, a welcoming activity, yeah, to get the parents to stick around and stay and be involved. So that's, I like those ideas are cool, like building that list or something. So it's just kind of teaching the new families, you know, this is the culture of the club kind of. So,
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, we took that fun roll and we pasted it on the wall in the church so the whole church family could see, hey, our parents are doing a great job.
Right.
good idea.
No, Paula, we're just shooting the breeze. Sorry.
Oh man.
Lots of questions in the break time. You're fine.
I was going to say something real quick. Was and talking to a family member who's a teacher, and their kids are in school, but she's going in. Her school's going in, but her school is not. Her kid's school is not. So they're working on how to have her kids on Zoom. I guess that their husband is going to stay there with the kids, probably working with them on Zoom, probably. But then the adventurers after this, then to just go from teaching and then the kids in Zoom, and then to go back to adventurers, whatever it's going to be. They've said she's working with adventurers as well. There's something trying to figure out what to do with adventurers after all this, and so I think in a way we'll see what happens. But I think in a way we might end up having it where it may be a struggle to have kids or parents or something in there if they're having to work with their kids. One of the parents has to work with their kids because the school is not meeting in person. If it's just meeting, on Zoom, one of the parents has to stay there with them, and then we have adventures after that. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but maybe a lot there.
There's lots of challenges that Zoom offers, but it can open up some doors for us too. So thank you, Terry. Hey guys, we're going to roll into our next session, and this next session has Stars, Chips, and Awards is the first class, and so if you hadn't pre-registered, we'll let you put in the chat which one you want to attend. Stars, Chips, and Awards, Sonia's teaching that. That is the one, if you're a brand new director, that is the one that we encourage you to take. That's how to teach that and how they're structured. And we have a lot of clubs, not a lot of clubs, we have a few clubs that just do Stars, Chips, and Awards. Those are the things that go under SASH. And they don't take the training because, hey, this is all we're going to do. But once they take the training, they're going, oh man, I didn't realize this stuff is actually pretty easy to do. And so they get intimidated by it. And so Stars, Chips, and Awards is one of those that we encourage you to take. And then Alcina is going to teach Learning to Lead. We've talked, that's part of the Adventurer Director track with that. And so we've already covered recruiting volunteers, how to team build with those. And then now how learning to lead. So Alcina will be teaching that one. And then if you're working on your master guide, and normally we spend a lot of time on master guide, but in Zoom, we've had to pare down. And so, but if you're working on your master guide, he's doing the thing on creative worships. And it'll be really useful for you and maybe some of your team leaders in training from Pathfinders that help you. You can do that. And so those are the 3 to choose from. In chat, if you put down what you like, that'll be helpful to us for that transition. Thank you for doing that. And so our Zoom in time right now is going to start as soon as, I'm going to ask Corey. Is Corey? Yeah, Corey, could you have our opening prayer for us?
Sure, go ahead. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time that we can spend together as adventure leaders, planning and figuring out how we do things in this new world. We ask your blessing on our time together today, and we just thank you for each of these leaders who's committed to this ministry. We thank you, Lord, for leading and guiding us. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Corey. We have, there's just so many tasks ahead. It's always frustrating to think about how much information we're throwing at people. And, but the idea is that you just take it in chunks and you take one step at a time. It's the walk of faith, not the leap of faith, right? You're not going to start today and then Alcina's been in this business for 23 years. You're not going to be able to do what Alcina does on top of her. Corey's doing, but you starting here, and then you just take a step, and you take a step, and you take another step, and before you know it, you've got a really good program, and you will have a really good program this year because God has gifted you in what you're doing. One thing that I found that is really, really helpful is calendaring. And I think there's a thing in club organization or something along those lines that I think that maybe be tomorrow that you talk about calendaring. But it is it's really vital. So this Zoom in is about calendaring and communicating. If you put together a calendar to say, this is what we're going to do. In August, we're going to do this. We're going to have our registration and we're going to have one fun picnic or whatever. I don't know. I'm just coming off the top of my head. And then in September, you say, we're going to have this. We're going to have 2 club meetings, put the dates down, and we're going to have 1 family outing, put those dates down. At church, we're going to wear our adventure uniforms on the 3rd Sabbath or the whatever Sabbath you want, and put all in this calendar. Take it to your church board and say, we'd like you to approve our calendar. And then once the church board approves it, then I'd get that calendar out as soon as possible. If you haven't done that already, some of you already have it out, but I'd do it as soon as possible and get that board approval. Make sure that gets into the hands of your parents. Nothing more frustrating than having a calendar that's really cool and nobody sees it, right? And then make sure that whoever your calendar coordinator is for your church sees it, and make sure you communicate to them that, okay, this is the adventure calendar, so they don't put something on top of it. It's so frustrating to me. So frustrating to me that when the church board plans something and they throw it right on top of an adventure meeting or a Pathfinder meeting, and then they don't do anything about it. They just kind of wave it off. And that's why it's important to be at church board meetings when they plan these things. You can say, oh, excuse me, remember my calendar you all signed? So it's really, really useful to have that. And then the other thing, it kind of falls on you. Keep that calendar for the best that you can. And your calendar, this year, our calendars were blown up in the spring and March. They were blown up. You could just rip it up and throw it in the trash because COVID blew that up and there's nothing we can do. I had 56 investitures planned. And that, you know what we did with that? I just tore that page up and threw it in there, and it was very frustrating, but at least we had a plan. and we couldn't implement that plan. With your calendar, you may need to plan, and you may need to have 2 plans. I don't know. It'd probably be good to calendar in there. We're gonna have an outdoor meeting once, and then you may just decide that Zoom is not the thing to do with kids.
Yeah.
With adventures. I don't know what your strengths are, what your local church is like. I could certainly do maybe one outside meeting for the next 2 or 3 months, but then you may just call the parents and then talk to the kids and just say, man, I mean, I miss you so much. And you all know what you can do, but kind of calendar what you think is going to happen between now and January. Who knows what that'll be. Plan the best that you can, and then communicate it. You can never over communicate what's going on to the club and to the church board. And it can be very frustrating. A very wise person told me people are down on what they're not up on. And so I always, I kick a lot of stuff to my administration, President Mitchell and the Secretary Justin Ringstaff and the treasurer. When I am planning something, I send it to them, and they like it. They probably get tired of, oh, this Craig again, but they know what's going on. And so that's really, really an important thing for us to do. So over communicate. If people say, man, you communicate with me way too much, you go, praise the Lord. At least you know, right? So it's when you say, man, we don't know. We never hear from our adventure director. That's when you can be frustrated. So that's the zoom in moment for the 4:30 meeting. Any questions on that? Yeah, go ahead, Dahlia, or I forget how you spell it. Daily, yeah.
I think I registered for the that's Chips, Stars and Chips. I was wondering if I can do the creative worships because the requirement for my master guide.
Oh yeah, sure. Absolutely. You got that, Lisa? Sherry?
Yes, I have that.
Sorry.
It's been years. For those of you who wonder why in the world we're laughing, I used to call Sherry Castagnan Lisa for the first 3 years here. And we talked about it last night, and I was so proud of myself. I haven't called her that for years until just now. So
I'm good either way.
yeah. So that was an inside joke that you're all in on now. So
Alcina started that.
she
Sorry.
did. She
You know, when I
did
said that, I said, oh, I bet you I'm putting that back out again.
This
Yeah,
morning.
right.
Okay, I need to get a cable outside of it on the back because it's getting dead.
So yeah, go ahead, Narita. What did you say? I didn't catch that.
I kind of don't think she was talking to us.
Oh, I was talking to my kid. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay, no
It happens.
problem. No problem. Just tell them to get in line, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's another
Okay, very
meeting.
good. So we'll plan that. Yeah. Tell them you're doing it for the Lord, right? So.
Yep.
So we're going to go to our breakouts right now. Our next meeting after this, our last one for the day, will be at 7 o'clock. And that meeting will be pretty important information. And we'll make it as lively as we possibly can. We're talking about risk management stuff and insurance and the safety of the kids and that type of thing. So that'll be at 7 o'clock. So.
Hey, Craig.
I always get yeah, Tim, go ahead.
Can you co-host me?
Oh, I can. Right.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, Sherry has to say that or do that. She's the host right now. And you probably need to co-host everybody. I don't know if you did, Sherry. I didn't do it early on. So very good. Let's see, Samantha is, she's the new director down at the TAB adventurers, Samantha, and Narita is part of the Berrien Springs Village, or Berrien Springs Spanish Church. And so we're thankful for that. Bonnie, what club are you with, Bonnie? Sorry. You're Tawas,
sorry.
right?
Yep.
Are you the Tawas club leader? Yeah, okay.
Tawas.
Yeah, very good. Very good. All right. Well, there's Gabriel Castagnan. Hey, Gabriel. Let's see you, buddy. Hey, a story about Gabriel. He was at teen camp about 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. And my heart was singing because Gabriel and a couple of other buddies in his camp, everywhere they went, they sang. And I'm thinking, what? Since when do teenage boys sing everywhere they go? And that's what they did. And so I'm very proud of that young man, because most teenage boys will sit there and like a bumps on a log and they won't sing. But these guys sang while they're standing in line for food and all of that. So I'm thankful. I just wanted to give you some public affirmation there, big guy.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
He's taking master guide class this afternoon.
Oh, good for you.
Good
All
for
right.
him.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so gives me great pleasure to say this. Go to your rooms.
Is this the room we're staying in, this one today, Dawn? Oh, nobody told me we were staying in this one. Okay. So you are all here for this Stars, Chips, and Awards then, is that correct? Good. Okay. I am going to go ahead and share our screen then. Let's see if I can do it right this time. I did it wrong last time, so bear with me. Okay. And okay, you can all see my screen now correctly. And Don, you'll watch chat for me. Okay, here we go. Stars, Chips, and Awards. Get this out. Oops. Okay, so if you're not aware, these are the stars. This is for Little Lamb. These are the chips, which are earned by the Eager Beavers. And this is the awards, which are earned by the Busy Bees through Helping Hands. Oops. Okay, so we wanted to ask why we do awards. Well, we do awards for many different reasons. We do them to teach the adventurers new concepts in a fun way, to show them that Jesus can be a part of their lives in everything that they do. It provides challenge to the children. It helps encourage a balanced life, and it encourages the best in each child. So we're going to go through each one of those areas. First of all, making concepts fun, because very few people enjoy just sitting and being talked to, especially not if they're a child. Most want to be active and have fun. So we want to make the concepts for the fun, because any child can be told that a whale is huge, what a whale looks like, what the whale eats. You can tell them that Jonah was in a whale. You could do that, but what if they could experience a little of it? What if they could live a little of it. What a huge difference that makes. They can draw a whale to scale. If you have a big enough parking lot, take chalk, take a bunch of kids, because it'll take a lot because whales are huge. Take them out to the parking lot, measure out the proper distances, and have them draw that whale with chalk. Actually seeing a huge whale as opposed to just being told that the whale is huge makes a huge difference to the kids. What if they could go inside of a whale and see what they see and smell what they eat? You could take a big piece of plastic and a fan, pin down 3 sides of it and blow fan into it. It makes that big plastic area that the kids can go sit inside the belly of a whale. You could put a couple of cans of open tuna fish in the back corners of the whale. So as those kids are sitting in there, they're going to feel the feeling of being inside. They could smell it being inside. They would actually be able to identify with Jonah and see God's care. Now, wouldn't that be so much more fun than just telling them the story of Jonah and the whale? Absolutely. So we want to make sure the concepts are fun for the kids. Adventures is supposed to be fun. They sit in school all day long. They want to enjoy themselves and have fun in the evenings. Awards show them Jesus, because God created the world and anything of any value is his. So every award can and should point to Jesus. Has anybody thought about the Tin Can Fun Award? Has anybody really looked into the Tin Can Fun Award? You can take yourself off of mute if you'd like. And my question for you is, Tin Can Fun, you've seen the string telephones made out of the tin cans. You could make stilts out of the tin cans. But how would an award like that show Jesus? So feel free to jump in. How would that show Jesus? How could you make Tin Can Fun? Did I hear something?
I did it once, and we did a food drive collection with the Tin Can Award, kind of tying in that theme.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we did too.
Okay. And others, how can that show them Jesus?
I mean, it's a prayer. You can talk about a prayer connection between God and, each other with the tin can.
Good. Good. That's right. So that's a rather obscure one to start thinking about. I mean, some of the nature ones, butterflies or trees, those will show you Jesus very easily. But things like Tin Can Fun, you do have to sometimes think outside the box a little bit and find ways, because they all do point to Jesus. And sometimes we need to think about them. So that's really
recycling the cans, taking care of our recycling.
Environment.
Recycling in the environment. Yep. Yeah, because Jesus wants us to take care of the world, doesn't he? Good. Another reason that we do awards is to give enough challenge, because I'm sure nobody has ever heard "I'm bored." It just doesn't exist, right? Ha. Yeah. Well, we want to give them the challenges because there are many levels to each award. There's enough for the ambitious and, well, for the not so ambitious child, because they work at an individual pace. Okay. My son, when he was probably 3rd grade, I would guess, his teacher came to me just exasperated. She didn't know what to do with him, because when they had to draw a picture of a person, like most of the class drew a stick figure person in 3rd grade. My son was drawing fingernails and shoelaces and taking an extreme amount of time to do his drawings. And so she was exasperated because everybody was done and bored and waiting on Kyle, and he was still drawing. Well, the thing that's great about these awards is you can do a lot for the kids while they're waiting for other things. So you want to make sure that you're overplanned. And I can't stress enough, overplan, overplan, overplan. because there are worksheets and puzzles and coloring pages out on the internet that you can find free of charge that will go along with your award. If you're doing, I like the butterfly, so if you're doing the butterfly award, you can print out some black and white pictures of butterflies. And those kids that are done and waiting on others, here, why don't you color another picture of a butterfly that we can cut out and put up on our wall or something. So just have a lot of extra activities, because you will have kids that are done really fast. And that's when you start having problems, is the kids are bored now, they're done. So they're distracting the others, they're causing a distraction. So overplan, have a lot for the kids to do to keep them busy. Another reason we do awards is to teach a balanced life, because by nature we're selfish. It's just the way that we are. And the awards are built to teach that there is more to life. And kids can learn that there is more to life than just themselves, which leads to a more balanced life. So the awards are built to help with that. It also encourages the best out of the child. Adventurers need constant approval. Kids are human and they get discouraged, and we can help them with that. Because the awards give one-on-one time to help the child succeed. The awards are not based on a grade or having it done just so. So the kids are free to learn and play at a comfortable pace. It just we need to help them to do what they can. And then you can tell them how great their job is. For this age, they are more concerned with the process than the product. We may think we want to do this award, this craft, it needs to look just so. We've done a sample of it, it looks great. We present it to the kids to do. Some of them will do a really good job of it. Others will do the best that they can. And that's okay. We can just encourage them to do their very best, and it's okay. It's not grade-based. There's no wrong way to do it. We just want to help them to be the best person that they can be. So think back to a time. What was your best learning experience? Was it some time when somebody got up and lectured something to you that stood out? Would it maybe be some time that you were able to get your hands in there and learn? Would it be something like a video that taught you something? What would have been a best learning experience for you? Does anybody want to share a time that they really got something out of something? Feel free to unmute to do it.
I think having to teach it, you
So
learn it.
Hands-on with it and getting involved with it.
Gotta have experience with it, but when you gotta teach it to someone else, you have to explore it deeper.
Right.
Hands-on, definitely hands-on. Make my own mistakes and have them help me correct them.
Letting kids know that it's okay that they make a mistake, you know?
Exactly.
Doesn't look good, you know? When it comes to crafts and stuff, I always think that you have to have some perfect Pinterest-worthy samples to show them, because let's face it, how many of you have had a Pinterest craft turn out like that? I've never have, but so they know that it doesn't have to be perfect. Yours is not perfect. They might make one better than yours.
I always find the boys rush through, they're done in 2 minutes, and the girls will be there for an hour. So you have to kind of you have to balance that out.
Yes, you have to prepare for that.
Yeah, we learn best by doing. Sometimes it's also like when we play a game and have some reflection time after.
Well, kids learn best differently. Not all learn the same way. Some kids learn best as visual learners. They're the ones that see to learn. There are auditory learners who are the hearing, and there are kinesthetic, which are the touch learners, the hands-on. And we're going to talk more in depth about each one of these. But something very interesting is that all three methods must be present for a successful learning environment. Because if you, well, I will say we're going to get into that. So back myself up here. They all must be present for a successful learning environment. We're going to see why right now. So the visual learners, these are the kids that you hear say, guess what I saw? Or look at this, or do you see that? Or show me. Okay, these are the visual learners. They like books and pictures. They would rather read than be read to. They like neat, orderly surroundings. They're the ones that are finding the lost things, the detail-oriented. These are the ones who can't get directions orally. They need things written down. They like to work on puzzles. They're the ones that are intently watching the teacher's face when they're talking. And they need an overall view and purpose. So for this group of kids, flip charts are really helpful for them. Make sure that you're writing directions down. Visuals like felts are really good for this group. Highlighters, that they can be highlighting things. Make sure you give an overview before all the details. Flashcards are good for this group. They're great with memory games. And when you guys are singing songs, if it's possible, putting the words up on the screen so they can see them and follow along is really good for the auditory learner. So those are our visual learners. Now the auditory learners are the ones that say, I heard you say this, or listen to this, or tell me more about this. They're the ones that are the listening. They are easily distracted because everything that they hear off in the distance, they're looking to see because they're hearing. They speak rhythmically. They learn by listening and moving their lips when they're reading. They're mouthing them or reading out loud. They're dialoguing internally, externally. They tend to be the chatterboxes. They tell jokes at this age. They try to be funny with them. They're good at the spelling bees, the say, spell, say, which is like car, C-A-R, car, because they hear the letters being sounded out, and so they do really well with that. These are the good storytellers, and they're the ones that know the words to several songs. So for this group, something that's really good if it is not a focused time is to use music in the background for activities, which seems kind of confusing, but to them, if they're working on coloring a picture or something along any of that line, working on a craft or something, having some quiet music in the background can actually help them focus better because they're hearing something. If it's a bunch of talking and distractions, that's a little different, but some quiet music in the background actually will help them to be able to focus better. However, during study times, extra noise being decreased without the music is actually better for them when they actually have to focus on what they're studying. Turning learning into songs is really good for these kids. Using memory verses, turning them into songs, using common songs like Happy Birthday or Row, 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 I don't know if anybody even sings that one anymore, ABCs, or something that's common tune to the kids that you can put a memory verse with will help them remember them. When my boys, who my youngest now is 18, but when they were little and I was trying to teach them their address and their phone number, I put them both to a tune that they knew. And though they would deny it today, if I were to ask them the address or phone number, you can almost hear them singing the song in their head as they give it to me now, so many years later. So when you use music like that, it uses a different part of your brain and it helps it to stick in there good too. So it's a really fun thing to do, is try to come up with songs, have the kids come up with a tune to a song that they know for doing the memory verses too. It'll help them remember it better. Do things like playing rhyming games. When you're giving directions, use precise words, be exact with what you're going to have them do. And if possible, let them read out loud because they'll learn better that way also. Now, the kinesthetic learners, they're the ones, oh, I feel it, or I made this, or it's itchy, soft, tight, scratchy. They're the hands-on learners. They're wanting to touch and feel everything. Walking down the halls and they're rubbing their hands along the lines in the walls, or thumping down the pew thing as they're going with their hands. They're thumping people. And it's not that they're being stinkers, it's just they're hands-on, they're touchy. That's the way they learn. They're the doodlers. They have gadgets and they can put things back together and take them apart really easily. They have many things to play with, whether it's from a spiral notebook, all those little scrappy things that come off of the spirals. They're twisting those into little curls or unwinding paper clips, just something hands-on. So they have things that they like to play with. They enjoy the crafts and the hands-on things. They're making paper airplanes and standing close to people. When they read, they're following along with their finger or pencil. And those are really good if you can do activities with them, that if you put things up on the wall that you wanted to memorize, like a memory verse, it's, you could put a few words on a page on a wall here. A few steps down, put another few words, and a few steps down, put another few words. And then for them to memorize it, they would be walking, and while they're in motion, they'll be able to read those memory verses. And by being able to move will help them to be able to learn better also, because these are the movers, they're the hands-on, they're the feelers. So for these guys, skits and acting things out is really good for them. Allow them to move. Don't make them sit. Like I said, they've been sitting all day long for class. They want to be up and doing things. If they want to sit on the floor, if it's feasible, let them do that. Teach with props. Felts are great, hands-on. Manipulatives. And I shudder at this one because I am not, but get messy with the kids. But they love finger paints or Play-Doh or anything to get messy. These hands-on learners, it's going to be really great for them. Okay. So as you can see, you need to have all three learning styles in the classroom, because not all of your kids are going to be auditory. Not all your kids are going to be kinesthetic, and not all of them are going to be visual. And if you only do auditory learning with them, you're not hitting all of your kids. If you only do a couple of them, you're not hitting all of your kids. You need to have hands-on activities. You need to have visual activities. You need to have auditory activities to keep all of the kids involved. All right, I have not found a percentage thing newer than this. I keep looking, but not one has come out yet. In 2012, there was a study done by U of M on the percentages of visual learners, auditory learners, and kinesthetic learners. Would anybody like to venture a guess as to what you think the order of the percentages go? Which one was the highest type of learner and which one would be the least type of learner? Anyone want to venture a guess? I say there's no wrong answer, but there is, but it's okay. Take a guess, it's okay.
I think visual is highest.
Okay. Any idea last?
Auditory.
You think visual, kinesthetic, auditory?
That's what I think.
Okay, any other guesses?
Kinesthetic first,
Okay.
then visual and auditory.
Okay.
Especially the younger.
Auditory for me.
Auditory. Well, the percentages are visual learners are 60%, kinesthetic learners are 25%, and auditory learners are only 15%, which is really sad because in schools quite often, most of the learning is done auditorily. I think especially in the younger classes in our schools, they're starting to get away from that more, but quite often you've got people that get up and give lectures. Even in colleges and stuff, it's a lot of lecturing. But these numbers don't change as you get older. Your learning style is your learning style. As you get older, you do learn how to work with some of the other ones, and you can have more of those learning styles, but your base learning style is going to be usually just one. Ben Franklin said, "Tell me and I will forget. Teach me and I will remember. Involve me and I will learn." So which kind of learner do you think Benjamin Franklin was? Any guesses what Benjamin Franklin was?
He was hands-on.
Yep.
A doer.
Yeah, I would say so. I don't have literal proof of that, but reading that, I'd say yes, he's definitely kinesthetic.
Isn't he the one that put the key on the kite? I mean, you
It's
can't
true.
get better doing than that, right? Lightning striking, yeah, let's do that. I don't know.
That's
that
how
would
they
be
talk
something.
about in medicine for residents and nurses. You watch one, then you do one, then you teach one. That's how they describe it.
Well, that's good, and that's really important. Now, interestingly enough, dyslexic children use all three methods of learning. I don't know too much about that, but I do know that that dyslexic is all three. So you may have some children in there that use all of the learning styles, but in your club, you will have learners of all styles. So you need to make sure that you're using all styles. Now, you need to be creative with your teaching because kids don't want to sit. They don't want to sit when they come to your club. They've been in school all day. They want to have fun, be active, to be messy. I mean, creative. You also have to remember to encompass all three learning styles. So teach with visuals, auditory helps, and hands-on. Let's see. Okay. You also need to collect stuff. They talk about hoarders being a bad thing, and it can be to a point, but if you have the room to do it, be a hoarder. Because there may be times when you'll think, oh, something like this might be kind of cool to have eventually. Or you might be going to do an award and go, oh, you know, that thing that I just got rid of whenever ago would have been great for now. So get creative with all of your stuff and say, before you get rid of it, might I be able to use that sometime for an adventurers award? And if there's a possibility and you have the space for it, keep it. If you don't have the room, you may have to get a little creative, but be a hoarder as much as you can. And as you teach awards, you're going to gather lots of idea and helps, and you'll want to keep them together for next time. I'm going to show you this book, which may not have quite the same impact over Zoom, but this is my adventure manual, which in and of itself is not that big of a deal till you see how big this book is. It is got just tons and tons and tons of papers in it. This was gathered over many, many years, and I still add to it because there's still new awards that I don't have in here. But what I've done, I think I have one pulled. I do. This, sorry, it's a heavy, heavy book and it's cumbersome, but it's wonderful. And future leaders, even yourself, will thank you if you have this book. This right, let me see if I can get it out to get a little creative when we're on Zoom. This is the Whale Award. You've probably seen this. If you've done any awards in the past, this is just the general guideline for the Whale Award. I have bunches of papers that go along with the Whale Award. I have things in here like coloring pages, different kind. Oh, that's a maze. I did not gather all of this stuff myself. This has been a compilation. It's a crossword puzzle in here. There's another coloring page. There is a worship thought on whales. There's a whale game, a whale craft. As you do each award, I would recommend that, remember I said to over plan. If you know you're going to teach the whale award, go online, find whale worksheets that are appropriate, coloring pages or mazes or anything like that. Find whale crafts. Oh, that might be a cool craft to do. Print it off. And then you have this nifty little pack. So when I'm going to do the whale award, I can just pull this out. I have plenty for those overachieving students to do now. And I've got crafts and activities for them. The internet is a great source. There's a lot of junk on there, but there's a lot of helpful stuff on there too, and free craft ideas. So I would suggest you collect, and just start adding to your collection. And like I said, down the road, when you leave, you hand this off to the next leader, they will so thank you. And you just keep adding to it.
Sonia? Sonia?
You there? Can you hear me?
Okay,
Go
now
ahead.
can I show you what was given to me by the previous leader?
Yep.
Okay, this is a box, and in it are envelopes for all of the awards that she taught, all of the information inside for teaching it. She just left me this wonderful box that I use constantly, and I need a new box because it's getting too full. But this is a great way just to have some organization to, oh yeah, I taught that 2 years ago. I want to teach it again. Let me see what I did before.
And Paula, are you adding to it yourself?
Yes.
So your next leader will thank even you too. That's
yes.
Wonderful. So be a collector because it will help you down the road. It will help your future leaders. It's a great way to do this. And it looks overwhelming if you look at Paula's box or if you look at my binder. I mean, that's a lot of information. But like we said, it's been over time and over time. And as I do a new award that I don't have there, I'll add to it and I'll put it in the binder so it just keeps collecting. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah. Yeah, we had a comment about husbands, and I was thinking the same thing. And just tell your husbands it's for the children, honey. It's for the children.
That's right.
But we're done with no. It's for the children.
Yep. So, and we actually, I taught this out in Washington conference, and one of the ladies there was telling me her husband finally gave up on it because it's just her and her husband, and she took over the living room basically, and she just has boxes and boxes and boxes, and her living room has become a storage, and he just finally stopped talking about it because it was just hopeless. She said, I just can't stop. I keep collecting and collecting, but when it comes to doing the awards, you may be very thankful that you've been collecting, but you have to do it within reason and not stress your husband out too much. So, all right. Another thing that you need to do is to make sure you're having fun while you're teaching. Don't just go through the requirements. You saw that first page, and it's got the list of requirements there. And you could just go through the list of requirements. Okay, we read this Bible text, we're done with it. Okay, we colored that picture, we're done with it. Okay, we're done with the award. Boring. Have fun. Do more with it. Get the kids involved with them. Use their senses and their sound and their taste when possible. Smell. Even, what else is all messed up there? Even using their imagination would be great. So when you go outside to teach the tree award, okay, you could get out there and how does the tree feel? And what kind of sounds do you hear when you're by the tree? What kind of smells do you smell? Please don't eat the tree. Don't lick on the bark. But what other kind of things can you do with the tree here? So get them involved. You could just talk about the tree, but get them touching and smelling and seeing and hearing. Using all of their senses is really important. In fact, let's ask you this one. So you're learning the tree award. What is your visual learner doing? Anybody? What's the visual learner doing when you guys are going out to explore this tree?
Looking at the leaves, looking at the bark, seeing if it's smooth or if it's rough.
They're looking for the little ants crawling up the tree, like, you know, right. What is the auditory learner doing?
Listening.
Do you hear the leaves rustling up there? Oh, listen, do you hear the little cheep, cheep, cheep? There must be a bird up there somewhere. Can you see if you can? They're listening, they're exploring. What is the kinesthetic learner doing right now?
Climbing it.
Yeah, he is. They're the ones that are going to be trying to climb that tree. Be aware that those kids are going to be
And I was going to say, my boys would tell you there's some trees you can taste.
I wouldn't encourage that, but
there's sassafras trees and stuff around here, and you can chew on the bark. And
yeah, like I said, I wouldn't encourage it, but each to their own. That's there's so much that you can do with these kids and exploring and getting them in there. The website for the awards, I need to update this because, well, this is actually a pretty good one still, but I think
it's still a good one, but
on
put the other ones on there too.
But this is adventure-club.org, and it is a couple years old, but it's still pretty much the same thing. You can see on there, if you click on awards, it's a drop-down menu. There are the different grade levels that you can click into. There's also a multi-grade one, awards overview, but you can click into the pages. When you do that, it comes up looking like this. This is grade 2. It has this one, the different, not all of them because I couldn't fit them all on one page. But if you clicked in where it says read more on the acts of kindness, if you click into it, well, okay, that didn't work. You clicked into the whale one, and this is what would come up, okay? So the whale has all of these little requirements that you could do, and the kids would learn something about whales. But like I said, that is not going to engage all of their senses. It'd be so much more fun for them to get in and actually learn about a whale, what he eats. Oh, smell the stinky tuna, because the whale eats fish. Look how big this whale is that we've drawn on the ground out here. There's so many things that you can do. You can act out the story of Jonah. One of the requirements on here, I gotta zoom into it here then. I don't even see it on. Hey, take it back. It doesn't even say tell the story of Jonah and the whale.
Yeah, it does somewhere.
I don't. Oh, there it is. The last one. Read or listen to the story of Jonah. You can't read that story to them or act it out with the kids. They're going to have so much more fun acting it out. Your kinesthetic ones, they're going to be just in heaven. They're acting out Jonah, right? The auditory ones are going to enjoy it because it's not going to be a mimed story. You're going to be telling the story as it goes. So the auditory ones are going to be hearing the story. And the visual learner is going to be seeing the story being acted out. So it's a wonderful thing to get in there and act the stories out with them. It's so much more, brings it to reality for the kids than just reading the story by itself. Another thing that you can do is felts. If your kids aren't big on acting things out, felts are amazing. I think that they've gotten overlooked these days. You don't see them so much in Sabbath, at least I don't, where I've gone. I don't see them in Sabbath schools so much anymore. And I think it's really sad because felts will encompass all the learning styles too. The child coming, and it's adventures, so we have our families there. But if you think about a child coming home from Sabbath school and mom asks what the child did, the auditories learner are going to say, we heard the story of Jonah. The visual learner is going to be saying, we got to see the story of Jonah being done in felts. The kinesthetic learner is the one that's going to say, I got to put Jonah up in the tree. So felts is going to encompass all learning styles also. So if you don't have a bunch of actors in your club, ones that are kind of shy to be getting up and doing a lot of actions, things like felts is really good, or puppets even would be another thing. If you don't have felt puppets, even like sticks with the pictures of them and having them acted that way is sometimes better for the shy who don't actually want to get up and be in a big elaborate storyteller. So those are some things that we can do with that. Okay, I have one more thing, and sadly we cannot do it, but I'm going to do this first part for you guys anyway, so just bear with it, because normally when we teach when I teach this class, we actually earn an award. Okay, so I would say to you guys, do you guys want to earn an award? And most of you guys would say, yes, let's earn an award. I said, okay, here we go. We're going to earn the gymnast award. How do you guys all feel about that? Anybody on board with that? That's where my next lesson comes in, because you have to know yourself and you have to know your kids if you're going to teach successful awards. I know myself, and there's no way that I'm teaching the gymnast award. Sorry to those who wanted to do it. Okay. But if I had a club full of kids that were interested in the gymnast award, I know I can't teach it. I would probably find somebody who is proficient in gymnastics and ask them if they would come in and teach the award.
Kyle.
Exactly, which I have done in the past actually. But you also have to know your group. I know I'm taking liberties here, but I am assuming that most of you probably wouldn't be interested in earning the gymnast award anyway. So for me to teach that award to you is kind of fallen on deaf ears, because it's not anything that'd be of interest to you. And you have to know that with your club also. You may have a club full of boys and you think, you know what, great, let's do the lizard award. But the boys are all a bunch of gentle boys, and they'd rather do butterflies or flowers. You have to know your club. You can't just assume that it's going to be one way or the other. So you get to know your kids, you find out what kind of things they're interested in, and you either know yourself that you can teach what they're interested in, or know that you can't teach it and you find somebody who can teach it. It's really important if you want to make the awards be something that sticks with the kids. It's got to be of interest to them, or else they're going to be bored. They're not going to remember much of it. There's not going to be much point in teaching it to them. Does that make sense? Okay. So sadly, we won't be able to do the award because we need to be in person to complete the award. But all right, I think it was going to be hand shadows. So, okay. Well, that is the end of the seminar. So if anybody has any questions, we've got just like a couple of minutes left. If anybody has any questions or comments.
Sonia, I got a question. So that website that you pulled up, where is the best place? What did you say that was? And is that the best place to look at awards and by grade and all of that?
Actually, let me see here what I can find here. There is.
I think this is a great question. I don't think there's a great answer for it actually, because sometimes when I go on Advent Source, I'll see that there's new awards and patches there that aren't anywhere that I've ever seen, right? So there was children in the Bible, men in the Bible, women in the Bible that were released. I never saw anything about it, but I just have seen it on Advent Source. So I tend to check a couple different places, and then you'll happen upon new awards. What used to happen was they would release new awards and then the patches weren't available for like a year. Yeah. So that was really difficult. So now they're not releasing new awards until the patches are ready too. So I actually find Advent Source has, you know, the patches and the requirements are embedded in the on the screen. So sometimes I find them there, but that other
Okay.
website does have some too.
Well,
But
the one thing is actually it's you got me saying Advent Source. No, adventurer-club.org. And they do have them. They are not, like she was saying, they're not the most recent, but they try to keep them up as much as possible.
Okay.
But there is also, I'm trying to find here. What is, Corey, maybe you know, I'm having a hard time finding it right now.
NAD site?
so I usually just Google Adventure SDA Awards, and then usually you'll get a few hits, and then you can kind of go through the different ones, because there's a variety of them, and some have only older stuff and some are more updated. I don't know that there's actually.
Okay, I found it. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll put you guys on this one here too. Sorry, talk over you. That was terrible.
No problem.
Okay, remember Pastor had talked about our conference website, which was the MSDAYouth.org. And the homepage right now is, he said that it had it at the top, but it's not coming up here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so right now, if you go to it, the homepage has all this information here, the Zoom link and the document. But if you go to the top here to Club Ministries and then click on Adventurers. Okay. There it goes. It's just going slowly. And then scroll down. There are helpful links for adventures. It's got the, it'll take you to Advent Source. It'll take you to where your monthly reports are. It also has this link here for awards and curriculum. And if you click on that, really slow internet, I apologize.
Clubministries.org.
Yep, it's MSDAYouth.org is this one. And it's got the different awards here. I haven't really, it looks like you can click on the different age levels. And then it would bring up the different awards for those age levels. You could use that also. Let me go to a Sunbeam Award. So those look like little, or Eager Beaver or something. So if you wanted to work on the Courtesy Award, you'd click on that one. Oh, it takes you to Wikibooks, which has the different requirements for it. So that's all on the MSDAYouth.org site that you can get to also. And I'm not sure how updated that one is yet. The website's pretty updated, so I'm guessing the awards probably are too, but I can't guarantee that. So.
Okay. And thank you. And I also had one more question. So like if you, what Holly does is they do about half and half, like, well, maybe a little bit more book work, like in the room split up. And then they do every, maybe once every couple months, whatever, they'll do a group award with everyone. And Sonia, you've actually been in to do the whale award, so that was really fun, actually.
One of my favorites.
But if I going in to pick the group awards, is there any awards that are like not a part of like Sunbeam or Helping Hand, or like, so that I'm not overlapping with what the groups might be doing?
Most of them are not linked to the class books have maybe three or four, I think. I'm not.
It's about 4 or 5.
Maybe it's 4 or 5. Okay.
At least 4.
To it, but there are many that are not attached to any of those.
Okay.
So my suggestion would be you could go through all of the class books. There might be a place that shortcuts it. I'm not totally sure. I'm sorry, but you could go through all the class books and just make a list of the awards that are tied to a class, and then any of the other ones.
That's what I do. I just have a list of what's the core for every class, and then I pick other things that don't affect that.
There's a handout that I gave Pastor to put in the handout files that has a lot of the, I don't have it right in front of me because that's my seminar tomorrow, but it has it organized where these are the awards that they're going to earn in their class book. And then there's our club worked on a 4-year rotation in Alpena. So every 4 years we knew what awards we were going to work on as a group. And then there was awards that, they could do at home, that you can send home and have them do just at home with their parents.
Now, I would like to say one thing though about the awards that didn't get touched on. You will see, I clicked into Sunbeam or something. Those are built for that age group.
Yep.
The awards are designed for that specific age. If you're going to do them as a full group award, you just need to be aware of that. If you're doing a Busy Bee one, the helping hands are probably going to be a little bit bored with the requirements that are there. So you would have to yourself enhance a little bit, add a little bit more depth for the older ones, or vice versa. If you're doing an older award, it might be too much for your Busy Bees and you might have to modify it a little bit so that they can understand it also. So just remember that these are built for that specific age group. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? Okay, so it looks like we're coming to the end of our discussion time. I just want to keep encouraging you guys that even if you've got questions down the road, any of the district leaders are happy to help you. Just shoot an email, a phone call. I think email is probably best because we're all busy too and might not catch your phone call as easily, but you're welcome to call or email any of us at any time, and we'll help you out if we can. So if you don't think of it now and you think of a question, oh, I should have asked in class, that's fine. Just send out an email or whatever, okay? All right, well, let's go ahead and have a closing prayer. Father God, thank you that we've had this opportunity to come together to learn more about the awards and how to teach effectively, to bring all of the learning styles into action so that our kids can get a full learning benefit. Please bless us as we go our way and help us to have a wonderful rest of the day. We love you, dear Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
All right, now our next meeting is at 7 o'clock. So we will see you all then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.